Open book. Single dad thought it was just a joke until the CEO arrived smiling, "Got a room for me?" The morning sun spilled through the cracked blinds of the small roadside motel, casting long stripes of light across the faded carpet and the world-worn face of Ethan Hale, a single dad who had forgotten what rest felt like. With one hand he balanced a laundry basket, and with the other he gently nudged his 8-year-old daughter, Lila, awake for school. It was the kind of morning where the air felt heavier than usual, filled with the weight of unpaid bills, broken plumbing, and the silent fear of losing everything. Yet Ethan carried it all with quiet resilience, telling himself that as long as Lila smiled, he could endure anything. But deep inside, he knew the motel was failing faster than he could save it, and one unexpected day might be all it would take to turn his whole world upside down. Sparkles, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and emotional stories like this, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Hub to support more heart-touching videos. Sparkles. Ethan had inherited the small, aging motel from his late father, and though it once thrived with travelers and families, it now struggled to stay afloat. The sign flickered constantly, the rooms needed repairs he couldn't afford, and the winter storms had damaged the roof again. Guests rarely came anymore. Most just drove past without even slowing down. Still, Ethan tried to make the place warm and safe, decorating the front desk with drawings Lila made and fixing everything with what little he had. But hope, though fragile, still lived somewhere within him, buried deep beneath exhaustion and fear. On one particularly quiet weekday afternoon, Ethan was leaning over the counter sorting receipts when a group of construction workers checked out. They joked loudly, laughing as they teased one another, and one of them jokingly said that maybe he should call his CEO and tell him to stay in a struggling motel like this. The others laughed, and even Ethan managed a tired smile. It was just a joke, harmless, silly, nothing more. Ethan didn't think about it twice. Life had taught him that miracles didn't walk through motel doors. But later that same day, when the sun was still high and golden light washed over the gravel parking lot, a sleek black car pulled up. The door opened, and a sharply dressed man stepped out, adjusting his tie and scanning the area with calm confidence. Ethan watched in confusion, thinking the man must be lost. No one driving a car like that ever stopped at his place. As the stranger approached, his warm smile stood out against his polished appearance, and his voice carried a tone that instantly put Ethan on edge, not because it was harsh, but because it was too gentle, too kind for someone of such stature. He set his suitcase down, looked Ethan directly in the eyes, and asked with a soft, almost amused sincerity whether the motel had a room available for him. Ethan blinked, thinking the man was joking. But the stranger introduced himself as Rowan Pearce, the CEO the workers had teased about earlier. Ethan felt his knees weaken, unsure whether this was a blessing or a storm waiting to unfold. Still, he nodded and handed over a key, his heart pounding as he wondered why a man like this had chosen his motel of all places. Rowan's presence changed everything instantly. Not because he acted superior, quite the opposite. He greeted Lila warmly, complimented Ethan's efforts to keep the place running, and walked through the motel with genuine interest. He noticed every worn-out wall, every peeling paint spot, every creaky floorboard, but he didn't criticize. Instead, he listened as Ethan explained the motel's history, how it once thrived, and how he was trying to save it for his daughter's future. Ethan didn't mean to open up that much, but something about Rowan felt safe, like he wasn't just a CEO but a human being who understood struggle in ways most didn't. That evening, Rowan asked Ethan if he could sit outside with him for a moment. As the soft glow of daylight lingered over the parking lot, Rowan admitted that he used to stay in motels like this when he was young, traveling across the country with his mother, who worked multiple jobs just to keep them fed. He said the motel reminded him of those days of warmth hidden in simple places, of people doing their best despite hardship. Ethan felt something shift inside him, a crack in his long-held belief that no one important ever truly cared. The next morning, Ethan found Rowan standing in the lobby, reviewing a small stack of papers and architectural sketches. Rowan explained that he had spent half the night thinking and wanted to help revitalize the motel not by buying it from Ethan, but by partnering with him. He offered resources, renovation support, and a chance to turn the motel into something new and thriving again. Ethan felt tears well in his eyes, not from relief alone, but from the realization that someone had seen his fight, his worth, and believed in him when he had almost stopped believing in himself. As the days passed, the motel slowly transformed. Painters arrived, electricians repaired wiring, new signs were installed, and fresh landscaping began to shape the once forgotten lot into something bright and welcoming. Lila watched with sparkling eyes, helping where she could and making Rowan laugh with her cheerful curiosity. Ethan didn't know how to thank Rowan, but Rowan always insisted the gratitude belonged to Ethan for working hard, for never giving up, and for raising a daughter with so much light. Near the end of the renovation, Ethan stood outside, watching fresh sunlight reflect off the newly painted walls. His heart felt full for the first time in years. That's when Rowan placed a hand on his shoulder and told him that sometimes the greatest blessings arrive disguised as jokes, as coincidences, or as strangers who choose to believe when no one else does. Red Heart, if this story touched your heart, please like, comment, and subscribe to Kindness Hub to support more emotional and inspiring stories. Speech Balloon special request: comment Hope Lives if you believe kindness can change a life.